Hello, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Heard It Here. I'm Kaylee Mason, your beef advocate and host. We've got a pretty interesting topic today that we're excited to share with our listeners. Sitting with me today is Casey Wassam. She's a student in the beef pregnancy detection ultrasound class. The ultrasound class is hands-on and is designed to equip students with a specialized skill that they can use in any operation or direction that they go, whether it's embryology, a vet clinic, or ranching. So Casey, would you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so like Kaylee said, I'm Casey. I come from North Dakota, so I'm quite a ways away. I'm a freshman animal science major here at Colby. A little bit of my background, I come from a seed stock operation back at home, so Red Angus cows have my heart. So we have a bull sale every year, and that's a bit about me.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you on the show, so thank you. Do you want to go ahead and expand on your experience a little bit with the ultrasound class?
Yeah, of course. So the ultrasound class that I'm taking right now, like she said, it's so hands-on. The first probably 2 lessons that we had, we just went through slideshows, kind of what we were expecting to see, a few different abnormalities, and the development of the fetus, just how it looks, 25 days, 40 days, 60, 90, 120, and just kind of what we were expected to see. And then after that, we got to go into some cows. At the farm, they have about 30 head that we practice on, and we're able to go in and see whether they're AI bred or bull bred. And then I was actually gone, but my classmates got to go to a producer's place and pregnancy check all their cows as well.
So why did you choose to take this class?
So actually, I didn't even know about this class until Adelaide had sent out an email, but I was like, man, this is such a good idea. I personally want to go into embryology, and so anything pertaining to that I could get my hands on, I was very eager to learn about and see, and an ultrasound class just sounded like such a fun opportunity.
And you've enjoyed it so far?
Oh yeah, it's been so much fun.
Awesome. So kind of deep diving into more fundamentals of it, how are you able to scan the fetus?
So how we scan the fetus is we'll go into the cow, into the rectum, with a little wand. It's not very big, it's just a little small, and you hold it into your hand, and then you're going back and forth trying to scan the cow and find the fetus. Sometimes it's a little difficult to find them, but then once you find them, then it'll come up on the screen and go from there. And on the ultrasound screen, you're able to detect and see if there's any abnormalities or even the exact day of the fetus in gestation.
So about how early can a skilled technician detect a pregnancy?
So a skilled technician, as early as 25 days, that's usually the minimum that they can detect. But ideally, it's anywhere from 60 to 90 days.
And what is the optimum time to detect the sex of a fetus?
If you're really wanting to determine the sex of a fetus, it's usually in between 60 to 90 days. If they're too small, you can't see it. And if they're too big, then it's really difficult to get the right angle to see things like that, especially if you don't have long enough arms. Sometimes in older cows, and they'll hold their fetus like way down below, and you'll be shoulder deep. I think the one time I was in a cow and we were looking for it, and I was only wrist deep. Like, that's just how close it was. And then the next cow that I checked, I was into my shoulder.
So it depends on the age then too, like how, or does it not depend on the age?
Sometimes it does. I think that older cows, they just are more used to having calves, and they have a lot more rib to them most of the time, and so they are able to hold them deeper in their body cavity.
So what do you believe are some benefits of learning to ultrasound?
Just the ultrasound in general, I think it's so important to be able to know anatomy of cows, as well as, learning how to navigate, especially if you're going to anything like embryology or even AI.
A lot of producers actually don't ultrasound for pregnancy detection. They use other detection methods such as palpation or just waiting for the cow to calve, just getting a surprise baby. So what are the pros of actually utilizing ultrasound on an operation?
So back at home, all we use is ultrasounding. I personally think that it's a great way to help better manage your calving year, learning when your cows are supposed to calve. That's very helpful to ranchers, just so that you can really stay on track, and especially if you're even just waiting for your cow to calve. Sometimes it can be pretty tricky. Are they even bred? So using an ultrasound machine there is so helpful. And then, if you're really looking for the sex of the animal or of the fetus, I think that's so important, especially coming from a registered operation. My family, we pre-make all of our tags for bulls and heifers, so that can help us speed up the calving process a little bit, or processing the calves once they're born.
Do you think ultrasounding is a good profitability choice for producers? It's like a better prediction, like you said, but do you think a lot of producers can't afford to hire a vet, or they just choose not to? What are the benefits economically of ultrasound?
I mean, personally, I think it's well worth your money to ultrasound. If you're running hundreds of head of cattle and you don't ultrasound, you could have 50 or so that are open because maybe your bulls didn't cover the cows. From an economic standpoint, you're feeding those cows, so they had better be pregnant. Ultrasounding those cows earlier, it just helps you make better economic and herd decisions. If your cows are open, you can sell them at the time, and you're not putting so much feed and veterinary expense and all of that into them if they're not even bred and not producing anything for you.
Although you are learning to ultrasound, Adelaide can't actually legally certify you. Each state has its own rules and regulations as to who can actually be hired to preg check for an operation. Quite a few states require a licensed veterinarian, but Kansas hasn't stated who actually can. I've tried to do some research and I couldn't find who isn't and isn't allowed, so it's a good rule of thumb to have a certified vet. After completing this class, do you feel like you're confident in ultrasounding and preg checking for like your own herd?
For my own herd, I would say I would be fairly confident. Sometimes it gets a little tricky, especially with the rules and regulations, and coming from a production standpoint of, it's make or break. You're in a registered herd, and if you sell that animal and they're not actually open, that can be an expensive mistake. But I feel like Adelaide has taught us very well, and even though we won't be certified or anything, I think that taking it back into your own operation is still a good asset and skill in its own.
Do you think you would recommend taking this class to other ag students?
Yeah, I think that an ultrasound class, no matter what field of agriculture you're going into, it is a great opportunity just to learn more about what you're going into. Ultrasounding has actually been a lot of fun for me. There's a girl that mainly focuses on horses. She's like, I prefer horses way more than I like beef cattle. And I'm like, well, why are you doing an ultrasound class then? And she just likes the experience of learning more about the animals that she'll be taking care of in the future.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Casey, for joining us on the show and sharing with our listeners your experience of the ultrasound class and helping everyone understand the benefits of ultrasounding your cattle. That's all for today's gathering of Heard It Here. We hope that we have beefed up your knowledge today. We'll see you next time.